Update: this post was written before Houston's latest roster move. The Texans decided to pass on Kaepernick and bring in old favorite TJ Yates, who is pretty much useless if he's not playing the Bengals. Let's update this accordingly. The updates will be in bold. Unlike the NFL teams who have passed on him over the last few months, the Texans have had no excuse for not signing Colin Kaepernick. Not after their star rookie Deshaun Watson went down with a torn ACL during Thursday's practice. The team signed Matt McGloin shortly after the Watson injury announcement, but I doubt he is the long-term replacement. The Texans had only one healthy quarterback on the roster, and they needed a backup who could play in 3 days if need be. Having played for Bill O'Brien in the past, McGloin is that guy. Kaepernick is not. Well, operate under the assumption that Houston is taking that approach. Silly me. I just assumed the Texans were acting rationally. Apparently Bill O'Brien called every quarterback had ever coached. With $13 million in cap space, the Texans have had enough money to get a deal done. The offense Bill O'Brien has put together for his rookie is tailor-made for Kaepernick, whom O'Brien referred to as a good football player back in March. In fact, the former 49ers quarterback may be better suited to run the offense than Watson is. The fit is would have been perfect. And Houston doesn't have any other options. I guess giving up on the season was also an option. Tom Savage has already proven incapable of leading the Texans' offense, even if he knows the playbook. O'Brien only needed to see 30 minutes of Savage to pull the plug. Brandon Weeden, who also knows the offense having spent the preseason with Houston, is already on a roster. Brian Hoyer, also a former Texan, was snapped up by the Patriots as soon as the 49ers released him earlier this week. TJ Yates has played for O'Brien but has no place on an NFL roster. Whoops. The trade deadline has passed, so Houston can't deal for a quarterback. Kaepernick was not only the right choice. He was really the only choice. Again, giving up on the season was not a choice I had considered. That's on me. It's worth noting that it's not a given Kaepernick will want to play for Texans owner Bob McNair, who had to apologize for referring to NFL players as inmates during a discussion about the protests taking place across the league. We're talking about a player who essentially gave up his career to fight for a cause he believed in. It's not inconceivable that Kaepernick would turn down an offer from Houston to avoid playing for McNair. The Texans have led the league in scoring since Watson took over the starting job. That success can be attributed to O'Brien's tinkering with the offense. Houston simplified its read in the passing games and made up for that simplicity by featuring zone read runs and play action based on college-style fakes in the backfield to confuse defenses. The result was a high-powered offense that didn't require much thinking for the quarterback after the snap. Kaepernick is a more advanced version of Watson at this point. Both have similar weaknesses, spotty accuracy and questionable pocket presence, and similar strengths, but Kaepernick has a better arm and is more adept at reading defenses thanks to more experience in a pro-style offense. That's not to say the Texans, or any team, would want Kaepernick over Watson. The latter is much younger and has an infinitely higher ceiling, but, as of right now, the veteran is probably the better quarterback. The comparison is pointless because the Texans weren't choosing between Watson and Kaepernick, they were choosing between Kaepernick and Savage. And if they decided to go with the latter worse option, which will require a change to the team's current offense that has worked so well with Watson running it. Houston certainly won't be able to run plays like this, as they have to pick up easy yardage on early downs. And O'Brien won't be able to call plays like this, which is right out of Jim Harbaugh's 49ers playbook. I'm not exaggerating. The 49ers were running this same exact run concept from the exact same formation 5 years ago. This offense that has torn up defenses over the last 7 games was designed for a player of Kaepernick's ability and is now a thing of the past. Sorry, Texans fans. Adjusting it for a mobile quarterback like Savage will mean returning to what the Texans were running before Watson entered the lineup, which, as we've seen over the last few years, isn't very effective with a dud behind center. Sorry, Texans fans. Houston ranked 30th in passing DVOA in 2016 with the same weapons and a quarterback who beat Savage out for the starting job, Brock Osweiler. Sorry, Texans fans. The Texans sit a game out of first place in the AFC South, having already played the most difficult portion of their schedule. With competent quarterback play, they would have to been considered the favorites to win the division. The Texans aren't going to get competent play out of Savage or McGloin or any of the other less controversial options they have outside of Kaepernick Yates. Houston has had 2 choices: throw away a season that could end in the playoffs just to avoid upsetting some of its fans. This is the one it took, or take a chance on Kaepernick and try to build on the momentum Watson's presence created over the last 2 months. Lol, why would you want to do that? With a battered defense, Houston isn't going to win games averaging 20 points. It needed to sustain the torrid pace the offense set behind Watson in order to make a postseason run. Kaepernick was the Texans' only hope of doing so. Hey, how about the Astros?